Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve Ramona and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I'm so fired up to have you join us today. We dedicated this podcast exploring the idea of how to do life and do business with a purpose. And of course, the purpose is a servant's heart. And I say, of course, because I do it every day, but that's what this podcast is about. We believe if you do that, you're going to make a difference and impact in your world. Don't need to change the world. There's LA fires going on. I'd love to go down and put fires out. I can't, but I can send them food like I did, or you could do other things. Just find a way to make a purpose that makes an impact. We also design this podcast so our guests motivate you, inspire, and educate you for that purpose of a servant's heart. So listen hard, listen strong, because today my guest is going to talk about, we just talked about before the show, some great things can happen when you do go out and serve. Here's your call to action today. Serve yourself, serve others today, and create that impact or difference today. And I accentuate today because that's the key. I know everybody in the world can serve. Everybody has their soul because we're built by the man, and everybody knows who that man is. So you just got to go out and do it. And I want to thank our sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Join a community of high-income entrepreneurs and business leaders to create a world-changing thought leader platform to help grow your business. For more information on Pantheon, just reach out to me and I'll get you all that information. With that being said, impact and change, how would you like to do that in your own terms? Well, we're going to talk about a book today that's going to really open you up. It's opened my eyes up to life and how to live life better. So let's welcome our guest, Rex, to the show.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here with you, Steve. Thank you for inviting me to be on.
Oh, you're so welcome. Let's start with this. Life on your terms. Sounds so cool, so awesome. How do we do that?
Wow, that's a great question, and one that a lot of people ask themselves or the universe or God or others, how do I, get through to live the life that I want? Well, I'll start a little bit differently because it's really about you have to understand that in order to get your car somewhere, you have to be the driver of your car. Your car won't do it. I mean, yes, I know they're talking about self-driving cars, but the point is you still, regardless, you have to program the car or you have to input something in order for the thing to happen. And for people, what people need to do is we've been so conditioned to be at the effect of the environment, at the effect of politics, at the effect of religion, at the effect of other people, in some would call it being a victim or being conditioned through society. And what we have to do is we have to claim that back. We have to say, I'm the person who's in charge. I'm the person who's responsible. I'm the one who's going to determine how things go. As Napoleon Bonaparte said, damn the circumstances, I dictate the circumstances. So it's understanding that if you don't take charge of your life, somebody else is in charge of your life. And when you make the decision to be responsible and accountable for anything and everything that happens to you, and people say, well, I can't wrap my head around that concept, because things happen. And I go, yeah. But you have the choice of reacting the way you would normally react or responding, choosing a different response that might serve you better. And when people learn that they have that ability, because a lot don't know it, we're not taught that we have that ability. We're not taught that. Then they have the beginning of a chance of living differently. So it's a formulaic. You can, if you understand the principles and the practices, you can claim back your life, you can break free from those things that hold you back, and you can move forward incredibly well, and you can be a success. Now, some people take it too far and say, well, I'm going to live life on my terms and screw everybody else. That's not what it's about. In this world, and we'll talk a little bit about Napoleon Hill later, or at any time, but the point is, while it's true that some people right now are making money and can make money, say, through almost instant electronic means, which is the kind of the first time in history that that's been possible over the last decade or so. Even that money that comes in that they make electronically comes from somewhere else.
Okay.
I mean, none of us have our own money. We can't just print our money, right? So that means you have to connect with the resources, and someone right now has anything and everything you could possibly need in order to advance your career or your business or your hobbies or whatever you might do. So the key is to connect with them. So connection is really important. And then collaborating and cooperating. Because the more that you collaborate, the more that you cooperate, the more that you work together with people who can help further you and you further them, the more you can accomplish. And if you think about the great things that have happened in this world, it's always been with people who were dreamers who thought, if this were true, then the world would be better off. And as a result, they actually make money and they contributed to well-being, and they too can be rich. But if the purpose is larger than you are, then I'm going to feed my face, and I want to help other people feed their faces, and I've developed this method, then the sky is not the limit. It's beyond the sky of what we can accomplish, and most people don't understand that. So it's a matter of claiming and taking responsibility for yourself, while also understanding that you're a steward of the planet. You're a steward of other people. You are your brother's keeper. You are your sister's keeper. And the more that you help to serve and add value to them, the more, yes, you can be enriched and happy and fulfilled, because you're giving something. You're not just taking something.
Yeah.
So if you want to get really, really, really fabulously rich, move it. If you hoard it, it'll stop. But if you move it and cycle it, more and more good things will happen for them, and more good things will come to you.
And a nice thing, it's in business and in life, personal and professional, both ways. Move that. And I love life on your terms when we first met, because it doesn't say life on their terms. It says life on your terms, because that's what a servant does. I'm going to make a decision on my terms to give $1 million to nonprofit. My wife or my family or my friend, no, you're crazy. No, I'm living life on my terms. This is what I want to do. It's customized to your life, but you could still be out there serving, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, some people think it's like life on my terms versus life on your terms. Yeah. If we're all living life on our terms and cooperating, collaborating, we're building a better society. Right now, what happens is people are living on other people's terms. They're getting angry. They're resentful. There are people trying to control and manipulate and all that. And that's not helping us. I mean, we can see where it's gotten us.
Yeah.
So the more people who say, I am responsible for creating the best life I can have, and in order to have the best life I can have, if I help other people have that best life too, then we all are better off. And then if we all, it's kind of the saying, if everybody was rich and happy, we wouldn't have any crime.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's kind of a utopian thought, but the point is, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. People that do crime are desperate and fearful and all that, which we don't get into. And I also like, on your terms, like a servant's heart, you don't need to say yes to everybody. You can make the decision, go, Rex, I don't want you on my podcast today. I don't have to give you a reason, but on my term, and of course you're not, you're here. But it's so uplifting. And we can talk about Napoleon Hill chapter 4 especially, but it's uplifting to be able to say that. And I have this phrase that somebody taught me 5 years ago: what you think about me is none of my business.
Right.
And it falls, it's ringing in my head as I listen to your book. And by the way, this is a book. We'll tell everybody how to get the book later. That's where Napoleon Hill comes in. You have a podcast, and you have the granddaughter, I believe, coming on tomorrow. As I told you, grandson, excuse me. And that's very cool. And I told you about chapter 4, the law of increase. And there's many great chapters, but talk about that and talk about the book. Because I think if you and I tell people all the time, follow chapter 4 for 6 months, your life will change for the better.
Well, Napoleon Hill, the quote that everybody hears and is familiar with is if the human mind can conceive it and bring itself to believe it, then you can achieve it. And when asked, why did you say you can achieve it, not that you will achieve it, he said, because I don't know what you're going to do with it. You may not do anything with it, but if you do something with it, then you can achieve it. So it always goes from, people think something is impossible. In order for them to begin to move from that, they have to begin to think, well, it could happen. It might be possible. Maybe somebody else could do it. I don't know that I could do it, but it's possible. So you move from impossible to perhaps possible, and from perhaps possible, then it could, happen for others. It might be able to happen to me, to where you can see it happening for you, and you go, well, then I can do this. And then the question becomes is, okay, you can do it. Will you do it? And some never do it. They read a book
Yeah.
and they put it aside. They never do anything with it. They take a program, they don't do anything with it. And so it isn't that the actions that you take are um, necessary. Let me back that up. People sometimes will say, the secret to Napoleon Hill's work is action, or if you don't take action, you must take massive action. It's not the actions you take, it's the mindset that you have, it's the attitude that you adopt that determines how you feel. And if your heart and your head are aligned and you're congruent, in one, then your mouth and your actions stem from that. So you're taking the right actions around the intentions that you've set, the purpose that you have. And so the results that you get stem from here, from your mindset and your heart set, not from what you do. And most people try and fix things. They try and do this, they try and adjust the circumstance, they try and control another person, either get them to do something or stop them from doing something, instead of transforming themselves. The key is not to try and change the world. The key is to transform yourself. And when you transform yourself, the world changes. And people attribute this quote to Wayne Dyer, but actually, apparently, it was Max Planck, the physicist, who said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Very
And that's
true.
such an important principle that most people miss.
Yeah.
And what they do is they worry about not having enough. They fear that the worst is going to happen. They go, oh my God, I'm not getting along in my relationship. We're going to break up. I know we're going. And then it happens, and they go, I knew that would happen. And what they do is really just live out self-fulfilling prophecies. As Job said, the thing I feared most has come upon me. So it's you have to begin to manage your mindset. That's the one thing, the first action that you need to take. It's not 10 times this or walk on fire or break bricks or anything. It's get control of the thinking mechanism. Because Hill said, if you can conceive it and bring yourself to believe it, you can achieve it. So the first thing you have to do is be able to imagine it, be able to conceive it. In order to live in a reality that doesn't yet exist, you have to be able to conceive of that reality. You have to imagine what that would be like. Yeah, it has to be tangible. And then from there, you have to believe that that reality and that what you do, you can accomplish. Because if
Yeah.
you don't believe it, you're never going to do anything for it, So you have to believe it, but then you have to actually take the steps. So I always say this, there's a saying, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. But hold on. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And that first step is here. And that's the decision to go on the journey. The second step is on the earth. So without the decision being made, the second step is meaningless. Because if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get to where you want to be. So you have to know where you're going. So you organize your thinking, you take back your head, and your
Yeah.
heart, and you say, I intend to create these wonderful, good things for myself and others. And then you act to do that. And when you do that, it opens up this kind of floodgate for everything else to happen. Doesn't mean that bad crap won't happen to you or hardship won't happen, but how you react or respond to those hardships makes a huge difference. And we were talking about that before the show.
Yeah. Indecision is worse than death to me, especially for businesses. COVID brought us that. Do I work, restaurant? Do I have outside table? I don't know. I'll wait. And then they go out of business or they don't survive.
And you hear these things like money loves speed, and you have to make a quick decision. And the cynics say, "Oh yeah, you're just trying to get me to part with my cash in order to do a program." But Napoleon Hill tells a story that Andrew Carnegie, when he interviewed him about whether or not he would take this 20-year proposition of working with no pay to interview 550 of the richest people on the planet at the time, that unbeknownst to Hill, that Carnegie had a stopwatch under the table that he turned on and gave him 30 seconds to say yes or no, because if he went after 31 seconds, he wouldn't have been a candidate. So he said,
Hmm.
"Here's the proposition, want to do it?" Click. And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Click. Okay, you're in." You know, you need to be able to make a decision. This is why Hill always says, make decisions quickly based on accurate information. Don't just be gullible, but make decisions and then be slow to change them. And what you see in the world is,
Yeah.
I'm from Hollywood. I'm actor, movie, and every year people go to Hollywood and go, "I'll give it a year, I'll give it a couple of years. And if it doesn't work out,
Yeah.
I'll go back and I'll do my law degree or my music degree or this, that." And that's not the mindset that makes things happen. You have to, this is why in Think and Grow, she goes, you got to burn your boats. You have to have no other options. And I'm not saying that this is what everyone needs to make a religion out of, because I recommend they read that book, they read my book, so that they understand this. But the point being, if you have a fallback plan, it's likely you will take it. So if you're all in and there's no other alternatives, then you have to find a way to make that work.
Yeah.
And those resources, like I said earlier, all the people who have anything and everything you need are around you somewhere. And if you don't know who they are, then part of that first thing you need to do is connect with other people who can collaborate and cooperate with you. And they're not going to want to do that if you're a dick. I mean, excuse
Yeah.
my language. So if you have value to give, and you're helping other people help themselves, and you're helping them and giving and adding value to people, then these other people are more likely to reciprocate when they
Yeah.
see the good that you're doing. So, we work together. That saying that a rising tide floats the boat and everyone in it is really an important principle to adopt.
Community. And I love the burning board story. I'll paraphrase, audience, if you don't know, the general took everybody to the island, burned all the boats, and said, either we die or we go through and we destroy the enemy. And that's how a lot of your decisions should be. I like that. Don't have a fallback, because if you fall back, go, "Oh, that's really hard. No, I'll just go back to the old way." And then things don't happen.
Well, the thing is, it's not, and the thing that is very a delicate position here is, it's not about feeling shame or feeling bad or
Right.
criticizing yourself, or doing the thing that society would do and go, "Oh, I failed, I'm this and that." Napoleon Hill himself faced a lot of difficulty in his life. He had money, didn't have money, had money, didn't have money. He did have money when he died. So the stories that he died broke are not true. But the point is he's one of the best examples of his philosophy, because people think, well, because you have this philosophy, everything should just be rosy. He should, he should have surpassed Carnegie and all this money. Well, he didn't. But he did have money. He did have a good life. He did have ups and downs. But he demonstrated persistence, that through all of it, when he said you must come to believe it, that he believed that no matter what he did, he would succeed. And so even though he encountered, coming up against the wall numerous times, he could get around the wall, above the wall, under the wall, break through the wall, whatever he had to do in order to keep going and to continue to live the life and promote the philosophy that he was advancing, so that the rest of us too could discover what he had discovered. And that was Edward C. Barnes, my favorite story, introduced in the beginning of Think and Grow Rich, wanted to meet Edison. And what Hill says is, it started as a wish, but he became a passion, a burning desire. And so at one point, with no money, dressed as a hobo, he jumped a freight train to go to, Orange, New Jersey, to put Edison on notice that, "I'm going to be your partner." And he gets to Edison, he tells Edison, Edison says, "Okay, you can work as my janitor." I'm not hardly a partner, right? Oh, and if you turn a page or two in the book, you'll say for 5 years, there was no evidence that he would ever be Edison's partner. But inside, he kept that wish, that desire, that passion alive, and he built it, worked on it every day, until sometime later, 5 years later, an opportunity opened up, and he said, "I can do that." Edison gave him the chance, and the next thing, it became history. He became Edison's partner. He retired young, and he retired very, very wealthy. And Edison, when asked about what his first meeting with Barnes, years later, Edison said, "I can't hear. I had no idea what the guy was talking about. He just like this." So I said, "Yeah, you can have a job there," because the look in his eye, he said, I've been around the block enough to know when you see somebody who has that look, that's somebody to take seriously. So I gave him, an opening, demeaning position. He took it, and the next thing you know, he's like my partner in business. So
It's a great story.
no, it's a great story. And what was
Great
funny,
story.
he was also known to be an impeccable dresser. And Hill later in life said he had different suits for every day, just impeccable. Thousands of dollars worth of suits that at that time, if you had $1,000 suit in the 20s, it was worth like, how many tens of thousands of dollars. So Hill said, "Why don't you give me some of your suits?" He said, "Well, you wouldn't appreciate it the way I did." He said, "What were you talking about?" "Of course I'd appreciate it." He said, "No, no. When I went to Edison, and I showed up at Edison's place. I was dressed, I was a hobo. I was so embarrassed by how I looked. I, at that moment, made a decision that no person in any room would ever be better dressed than I was. When I became Edison partner, that's what he did. He invested in his, because he, yeah. But see, this is the power of a decision.
Hmm.
And that's the thing that people have to understand. The decisions that they're making right now are the ones that are keeping them stuck and keeping them underwhelmed in terms of what's going on. And if they make a different decision and take responsibility and go, I am in charge of my life. And if it's going to be, it's up to me. Or as I revamped it a little bit, if it's going to come true, it's up to you. Um, then if they make that decision, then the whole world can change because you're that you're that far from success. You're a decision away from your entire life changing. And yet most people delay the decision, they fear the decision, they fret over the decision, they take time. And Hill says, when the decision is there, make it. And then if it doesn't work out the way you do, adjust your plan, but you've made the decision and stick with your decision. So you continue to persist. And that isn't about, again, if you quit, as Hill would say, if you throw in the towel, you've given up, and you could call that failure. But otherwise, you're going to encounter temporary defeat all along the way. You're going to have hardships and things that appear to be roadblocks. It's like your GPS, though. If there's a detour, you go around it, or it tells you what to do. So you have to just keep going if you want to get to your destination. And that's what life on your terms is about. And that's the kind of work that you and I do, is to try and help people understand that they can really have anything that they want if they will cooperate, collaborate, and connect with other people. And the first step to doing that is getting their mindset wrapped around what's right and their heart set so that it's not just this kind of selfish thing, but I can make a real difference in my life and other people's lives and work together to do that.
You brought full circle, Rex. What an incredible show. We're coming to the end because when I talk to my monologue, yeah, it goes fast, but like I said, serve yourself first and then serve others. You got to do that in that order. It's hard to serve others if you're not liking yourself, if you're not serving yourself. I love it. You just brought it full circle. What's the name of your podcast and where can people find it?
Well, the show that I have is called it's a podcast, but it's Create Your Best Life with Rex. And you could go to RexSykesTVCom, like up above, where you are. It says RexSykes.com. That's my website. It's got my programs and the book and different things that people could go. And I invite you to go there. But RexSykesTV.com will get you the show. Now, I also have a YouTube channel, and I encourage people to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell because then they'll know when new shows are coming and things are coming up. So on tomorrow's show, which I'm sure will be done before this show is broadcast, correct?
A couple days, yeah. This will go out in a couple days. So yeah,
it will have been James B. Hill. And if you go to RexSykesTV.com, you can find the show, or you can go to Create Your Best Life with Rex on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and you can find all my shows there too. These kinds of shows are under the live section usually, so you videos, whatever. So you find them under live.
So they can go to the website and they'll get all that information and the book too, access to the book there. I suggest you go out and read it. I'm going to get it after this show because I'm fired up. I want to live life on my terms as well. Let's end with a little improv, a little fun. You're in entertainment, so you'll like this. So I've got a reservation at a restaurant for you, table of 4. You're obviously going to sit in one of the chairs. In the other 3 empty chairs, who would you invite, dead or alive? Why would you invite them? And what food would you order?
Oh, wow, what a fascinating question. I would invite Napoleon Hill. I would invite Jesus, and I'd invite Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh.
He is
He's now
uh,
known as Osho, but he was known as Rajneesh at one time. I lived with him in a commune back in the 80s, and you call him a spiritual guide, you know. And then what would I order?
yeah.
I guess whatever they want to eat.
Okay.
I go, what
What's
do you
your favorite
want?
food? If you had any choice, what
Oh,
would you
my
eat?
favorite food in the world.
Yeah.
I love Thai food and I love Indian food. I'm very, very partial to that. And in fact, Afghani food, Pakistani food. I mean, I
Mhm.
love that kind of spicy. But I guess I'd have to say Thai food is probably my all-time favorite.
Yeah, I just got a taste of it. It is really good. I was surprised. I thought it'd be super spicy, but you can control that, and we're
And you
not gonna.
can,
You can
well,
make
you
it. So I
can.
know it could be really spicy if you want. Well, Rex, I gotta thank you so much. This has been a great show. Audience, go out and get the book, listen to his show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and learn more about yourself. Because I think making this one decision, living life on your terms, could really catapult you in this. We're in January of 2025. It could make a great year for you. I've lived it. When I met Rex, I saw my whole life in front of him, and it's changing my life, and it will for you. Do me a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel like you want to do with Rex. But here's the thing about me and Rex's podcasts, it's actually a gift. So I want you to think about this. Somebody that's just not right now, and you're talking to them and they're not living life on their terms, well, share this podcast with them. Let them listen to Rex for 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe they get the book, they listen to some podcasts. Maybe they reach out to Rex for more help. And if you help them, that's what with servants do. And I think the podcast link is a perfect gift to give to people. We just got out of Christmas. Why not make Christmas every month, every week, every day? So when you find a good podcast, subscribe to the channel and share those links out. And if it's a comment for the YouTube channel, just put the comments in. If it's for Rex, I'll make sure he gets them. If it's a critique at this podcast, me and Rex want this podcast to be the best because we want to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you. If we can do that and we can make it better to do that, we'll do that. And me and Rex want to thank you all so much for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with the Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.